So there's some extraordinary reading over the weekend and into the week now. Israel went on offense, wiping out the entire leadership of Hezbollah. They've been in charge there, Nasrallah has, for 32 years. Jack Keane's with us now, Fox News senior strategic analyst. And, sir, good morning to you. What's your best guess, General? What comes next, and what are you watching for?
Well, first of all, right before our eyes, we can see there's a strategic shift that's taking place. You know, on October the 7th, certainly because of that surprise, devastating attack, 1,200 killed, 250 hostages, certainly the people in Israel lost confidence in their security forces, their military, as a result of it, because they thought they would always be protected. And what has happened here with Israel destroying close to the 5 brigades that have been in Gaza, still more work to be done there. I don't want to minimize, there's still some challenges there. But now, as you point out, taking out the entire leadership structure of Hezbollah, I mean, an intelligent penetration that is quite unprecedented. And there's a shift that's taken place. Certainly the people of Israel are returning confidence in their security forces. But more than that, the adversaries in the region are seeing Israel's complete capability, their intelligence service, their technology dominance that they have over an adversary, and also the air power dominance that they have. I have believed for some time now, 8 weeks since Anaya was killed in a high-security zone inside of Tehran, the political chieftain of Hamas. And Iran has done nothing about it, yet it has promised to do something. And here we are. And I think they're back on their heels as a result of what Israel is doing. That's what I'm talking about, deterrence. The hands-off policy from the Biden administration dealing with Iran, I think, is dead wrong. And hopefully they'll back Israel to the fullest here and give them some assistance. I truly believe Iran probably has to do something to save face here, Bill and Dana. But I don't believe they want to go to war. They know they can't handle it with Israel, and they know the United States would be on the side of Israel in that fight, and they risk losing their entire regime as a result of it.
The Israelis have reminded the West what it's like to feel when you are on offense against radical Islamic terrorism. And Eli Lake says this in the Free Press, that there are now strategic opportunities to go after Iran's nuclear program. If Harris and Biden were wise, they would shelve their strategy of endless ceasefire talks and instead embrace Israel's escalation, because the best way to end a regional war is to win it. I've been thinking about Iran's nuclear capabilities, and with Hezbollah, their arm in Lebanon really decapitated at this point until they can rebuild, if they even can do that. What about Iran's, how close are they to a nuclear weapon, and could that be pushed back?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. Certainly Hezbollah's dramatic loss of leadership will obviously set this organization back. But they have tens of thousands of fighters and tens of thousands of rockets and missiles. So that's still a formidable force. Israel does not want to conduct a ground campaign. What they want is Hezbollah to remove their forces so they can put their people back into their homes in northern Israel. In other words, voluntarily do that. That's what this stepped-up campaign and this aggressiveness that we've seen for 2 weeks has been all about, to get inside their head to pull their forces back. If they don't do that, then they will go in there. Prime Minister Netanyahu has promised us that. Where the Biden administration is, I think, they just want it to stop. That is simply where they are. And I think that is quite appalling, because they should be on Israel's side to crush Hezbollah, to crush Hamas, to crush the Houthis, and do that with our assistance as much as possible, to set Iran back for years to come and remove them as the dominant aggressive force in the region. Israel will likely seize an opportunity here in the future, not too far away, to deal with Iran's nuclear enterprise. They've had some success with it through covert espionage operations, setting it back a year or so. Yeah. They'll likely do that again, and maybe also kinetic airstrikes. Don't expect the United States to be involved in anything like that in the near future. I go back to my premise. They just want the war to stop. They'll take the status quo, as unfortunate as that is, and how adverse that would be for the Israelis.
General, 2 things. Jared Kushner was active on social media over the weekend. He was heavily involved in the Abraham Accords. He agrees with you. Iran is now fully exposed. The reason why the nuclear facilities have not been destroyed despite weak air defense systems is because Hezbollah has been a loaded gun pointed at Israel. The right move now for America will be to tell Israel to finish the job. It is long overdue. A year ago yesterday, Jake Sullivan said this about the Middle East.
The Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades. The amount of time that I have to spend on crisis and conflict in the Middle East today compared to any of my predecessors going back to 9/11 is significantly reduced.
Since that time, General, October 7th and on and on and on. Just need a quick response on that.
Well, when he said that, the Iranian-backed proxies in Iraq and in Syria had already attacked the United States forces 125 times prior to October the 7th. It's 175 times since that time. That's how appalling and misrepresentation of the facts are and have been to the American people. They have had this dead wrong. This hands-off approach for Iran is getting us nowhere. But they're not going to do much of anything. They could easily take the Houthis off the board here by taking out Iran's spy ship that's helping them target, taking down their navy that's helping them transport the missiles and the rockets, but we're doing nothing. The Houthis have locked down the Suez Canal, backed by Iran, for months. They have fired at U.S. Navy warships using anti-ship ballistic missiles, Bill, and what are we doing? Nothing. It's appalling that we're not stepping up here.
General, thank you so much. We're going to lean on you throughout the week, okay?
Thank you.
Jack Keane, thanks for coming on.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.